Did you watch the Ring of Honor show this past week?
Parts of it, and I didn't watch the whole thing.
Did you watch Briscoes versus OGK?
Oh yes, that I did watch.
Okay. So after this, so I was not very high on this incarnation of OGK. I know that they were pretty good, years ago in their original thing with Taven and Bennett, but I kind of wasn't high on them. I wasn't a very big fan of Taven as the Ring of Honor World Champion. I
agree with that.
He didn't appeal to me. But after I saw that match, and then it came pretty clear that the Briscoes are heading to AEW for a feud with FTR, and that they're likely to get snagged up there. I was very into OGK after that match, and I was just like, man, I think OGK is a team that maybe Impact should kick the tires on.
100%.
Okay, so I'm not going crazy there, because originally, whenever the Ring of Honor announcement came out, I looked at OGK and I was just like, I don't think so. I'm not that interested. And I think I just had in my head the boring Mike Bennett from Impact and WWE and the boring Matt Taven as world champion. So I think I was visualizing those two guys in my head, but I didn't really, I guess maybe I had forgotten that they were actually a very good tag team back in the day in their original incarnation. And I was so impressed by those guys. It's like, they have to bring those guys in. I know they're doing some work with NWA, but you can work wherever you want now. So
I got to go to a Ring of Honor show in 2015 in Chicago, where the main event was the Young Bucks and the Kingdom. They weren't OGK yet.
Yeah.
And they absolutely tore the place down. It was phenomenal. I loved it. So I've always had I like Mike Bennett more than most people do. And I get he can be a bit of a controversial figure just when, just him being himself, same with Maria. But I think the sum is greater than the part, how does that cliche go? The sum is better than the wholes, whatever.
Yeah.
They're better together than they are separate. So I think the Kingdom in itself functions much stronger than Mike Bennett on his own and Matt Taven on its own.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But that said, people are really down. They were down in 2019 when Matt Taven was the Ring of Honor champion. What would you have done in retrospect? Marty clearly was the wrong move. So
they didn't know that at the time, though.
They did not know that at the time.
Yeah. Hindsight's always 2020, but when you're living in the moment at that time, I thought that Marty was the guy. I really did.
I would have agreed at the time. I think everybody did at the time. But at the same time, when all that stuff happened, it was bad enough he was the booker.
Yeah.
Right? So having him as your champ would have been worse.
Well, so they ended up dodging a bullet, but at the time, and I do know that his contract was coming up due shortly after shortly after that, I think. So there might have been a contractual situation there. Maybe they weren't fully committed to him. They didn't know if he'd be fully committed. I know AEW was on the horizon, all yada yada yada. But I was so impressed by Marty Scrull. I thought his character was great.
I hate Marty Scrull.
Really? I thought so. I enjoyed his matches, and I'm not a being the elite guy, but I always really did like his matches. I like the umbrella. I like the whole bird mask face thing. I thought all that was cool.
All pop, no circumstance. We went to All Out, the first All Out, All In show, and him and Okada went way over time.
Yes,
and it was self-indulgent, and it was like Marty Scrull got an match out of Kazuchika Okada, and then because Marty Scrull's ego was so enormous, we had to rush through the main event. Right, okay. So we barely got to see Mysterio and Bandito. Right, we barely got to see the Young Bucks on their own show, but Marty Scrull got to pretend to break Kazuchika Okada's fingers. That's what's important. He had to go and then do a sound. That's something I learned when I was 6.
I hate that move when he does it. I hate it when Pete Dunne does it. I don't like it when anybody does that stupid move, because we all know them fingers ain't broken.
Right, because they're fine 5 seconds later.
Yeah.
No, I think Marty Scrull is lucky he had good friends, because I think he was vastly overrated.
Well, man, I guess I just bought into it. I don't know.
Well, I think I'm alone in this, because like nobody else was agreeing with me in 2019. But I remember sitting in the crowd at All In being like, when is this going to end? When is Okada going to take this dude's head off? He's a junior, for God's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
If that match happens in Tokyo, it's like 10 minutes and Okada murders him with a Rainmaker, because Marty Scrull's a junior heavyweight there.
Right.
Like I think he's vastly, vastly overrated.
Wow, man, Marty Scrull's got heat on the Brace for Impact. Yeah.
Hey, Patreon. Hey, I got a YouTube clip for us this week. So.
Yes, we will talk about. I don't know if that's a good idea, because I kind of sound like I'm a Marty Scrull apologist, but I'm talking about I'm talking about pre speaking out Marty Scrull. I didn't know at the time what he was about to become.
None of us did. None of us did. I was lucky enough to hate him for all the wrong reasons, and be on the right side of history.